أناجي الحق في ليل بهيم أصدق النجوى وأدعو الله من قلب سليم يطلب التقوى أناجي الحق في ليل بهيم أصدق النجوى وأدعو الله من قلب سليم يطلب التقوى.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaban bikum, and welcome to Perspective. My name is Faizel Patel. On this evening show, we're going to be looking at Cape Town's biggest march since 1994. We're going to be looking at the Oscar Pistorius trial and also Gauteng's electricity woes. Remember, you can interact with me by sending me a mail on faisal@itvnetworks.tv. Drop me a tweet on @Faizi143, alternatively on facebook.com/Faizel Patel. Now, thousands of people marched through the streets of Cape Town CBD in protest against the ongoing violence conflict in Gaza. The pro-Palestinian supporters gathered in Keizersgracht Street before embarking on a march to Parliament in one of the biggest rallies the city has ever seen in 20 years. Now, several high-profile dignitaries were in attendance. One of them was Archbishop Emeritus Desmond Tutu, and this is what he had to say.
For God created us for freedom. God created all of us for freedom. God has no stepchildren. All of us are God's children. All of us have been given the gift of freedom. The people of Gaza, of Palestine, are being bullied by a barbaric bully. The people in Palestine who are responsible for firing missiles and rockets into Israel should be condemned. And I do so because violence begets more violence and hatred, and therefore is intrinsically wrong. But we must be very clear that the people of Palestine have every right to struggle for their dignity and their freedom. And we support that struggle. We support the struggle of people to put off the shackles of slavery.
Also in attendance was the grandson of former President Nelson Mandela. He was at the rally. He also addressed the audience, and he was speaking out in solidarity with Gaza. This is what he had to say.
Greetings to all of you in the name of Allah Akbar. I bring warm, comradely greetings from my humble village of Mvezo, my grandfather's birthplace, which is an ancestral home to us as the Mandela family. We salute the brave Palestinian people in their struggle for a free Palestine. We join the millions of freedom-loving people around the world and in expressing our indignation at the massacre of innocent women and children, particularly on this day of our National Women's Day. Today, we enjoy a free South Africa. Tomorrow, we will celebrate a free Palestine. A luta continua to the struggle continues. It is an honor to stand before you today as a Madiba and as a grandson to our father of our democracy, to remind you of our collective obligation as South Africans to a free Palestine. Speaking in 1997 at the International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people, my grandfather Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela had the following to say: peace and prosperity, tranquility and security are only possible if these are enjoyed by all without discrimination. We would be beneath our own reason for existence as a government and as a nation if the resolution of the problems of the Middle East did not feature prominently on our agenda. We would know too well that our freedom is incomplete without the freedom of the Palestinians.
Viva Mandela, viva! Viva Mandela, viva!
And then finally, one of the other speeches was ITV's Maulana Suleiman Rawat, who also addressed a large crowd. There were reports of almost 150 to 200,000 people. And Maulana Rawat said that whenever you impose an evil ideology on a nation, the natural consequence is death and destructions. Let us hear what he has to say.
All those who support them and all those who keep quiet to their atrocities have blood on their hands. Secondly, the two-state solution is dead. It was stillborn. No Israeli Prime Minister was serious about giving Palestinians a viable independent state. We rejected Bandustans in South Africa. Let's reject it for the Palestinians. The only solution is the South African solution. A one-state solution. One nation where all coexist in peace and harmony. A rainbow state solution. A rainbow nation solution. Finally, I say to you that your coming here this afternoon shows that you don't only have solidarity with the Palestinian people, but you have solidarity with the eternal struggle of peace and justice. Your efforts are bearing fruits. The narrative of the Israelis is being combated like never before. Latest statistics have shown that South Africa is number 6 on the list of countries talking the most about Gaza. Let's keep the Palestinian issue alive. Let this rainbow nation lead the world in dismantling Zionism. I thank you, South Africa, for coming here this afternoon and telling Zionist apartheid Israel that their time is up and their sell-by date will come soon, very soon, inshallah. Takbir!
Well, like you heard in those clips, the huge crowd which stretched halfway across the inner city brandished placards that read, "Save Gaza, Free Palestine, Stop the Bombing and Killing of Our Children." Another held up a sign stating, and this is said in context, "Zuma suffer historical amnesia." Now, 200 meters down the road, a group of drummers added to the chants of Free Palestine, and from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, with some African rhythms as well. Now, what they said, and I quote, "We are from Burundi, but we've come to aid our voices." This is according to their spokesperson, who wore a t-shirt with the words "Africans understand colonialism" emblazoned across the front of his t-shirt. As the huge crowd descended on the CBD, several roads were closed, causing major traffic delays in and around the city. Now, it is estimated there was well over 170,000 people, and the figure could be as high as 200,000 plus that turned up for the march. The march was called by the National Coalition for Palestine, or the NC4P, which comprises of more than 30 religious and civil society organizations, trade unions, and political parties, including the Muslim Judicial Council, the Congress of South African Trade Unions, and the ANC Youth League. Now, in a statement earlier this week, the group said it was demanding decisive action from the South African government against the Israeli attacks, killings, and displacements and destruction of the Gaza Strip. Now, the NC4P was also calling for an international inquiry into the conduct of Israeli armed forces in the Palestinian territory. This is the second major march to be held in the city in support of Palestine. Just a few weeks before this massive one, there was one in Cape Town where you've seen the pictures on social media. There was a large contingent of people. And in marches all across the city. We've covered it on Perspective. You've seen the march in Pretoria. You've seen the march in Sandton. You've seen the bikers rally. So a lot of support coming for the people of Gaza and for the people of Palestine. Like I've mentioned on the program before, that the atrocities inflicted upon the people of Gaza by Israel is just heinous. It is absolutely terrible. And unfortunately, and so sad, is the children that have died as a result of this conflict. When you see the pictures, it is absolutely terrible. Let us continue to support the people of Gaza. Let us continue to make aware the atrocities that Israel is inflicting upon the people of Gaza, and hopefully a solution can be reached soon. We're going to go for a break. After the break, we're going to be touching on a story about the Gauteng's electricity woes. Stay tuned to Perspective.
أصدق النجوى وأدعو الله من قلب سليم يطلب التقوى إلهي صرت في ظرف عصيب فاكشف البلوى فيا ربي أنا.
Welcome back to Perspective. Another story we're going to be touching on is Gauteng electricity woes. The city of Johannesburg says those illegally tampering with its power supply should prepare for jail time. Johannesburg Mayor Park Stow said 30 businesses are being investigated for alleged fraud and corruption relating to cable theft, which has cost the city millions of rands in revenue. Now, Tau held a briefing in Braamfontein on Thursday last week on the latest developments around the city's electricity woes. And he said after a year-long investigation, 107 million rand has been recovered and 22 people have been arrested on fraud-related charges. Now, those arrested including employees of City Power, the City of Johannesburg, external contractors, and members of the public. Now, the City of Johannesburg employees and City Power employees shouldn't be surprising, obviously because they got the inside info, they know how these things work. Now, some staff have been suspended, while others have resigned pending the investigations. Now, cable theft and illegal electricity connections are causes of frustration for many communities countrywide, including Lenasia. And Lenasia has been a huge problem. 2 months back, we seen the pylons collapse. They plunged the suburb into darkness. Businesses lost millions of rands, and it was just a catastrophe. Now, according to Tau, he says we've had a continuous problem in Lenasia as a result of the cable theft from the community in Tembelile. They affect the communities of Extension 9 and 10, and that has caused problems and tension between the two communities. Now, the tension is because the informal settlement is connecting illegally, and the people in Extension 9 and 10 are frustrated because they don't have lights because of the illegal connections, and that now is causing serious tension within the two communities. Now, last week, according to Tau, and we've reported on before, they had an incident where the community of Tembelile burned down 3 mini substations because they wanted to connect illegally. Now, Tau says, and I quote, "We can't encourage people to connect illegally." He also said he has been encouraged by the response received from the community of Lenasia Extension 9 and 10 in how they can collectively deal with the problems they have encountered with, especially cable theft. Now, another person that was at the briefing which I attended is the MMC for Infrastructure, Matshidiso Mafiko. And she said she did engage with the Lenasia Active Citizens Committee. And she says, and I quote, "We had indicated that we are taking through a report to the mayoral committee that is not necessarily focusing on Tembelile, but on all informal settlements. Then again, she says, we picked up a need for electrification of all informal settlements. The report is going through the necessary consultations, is at housing and planning at the moment, so that all of the role players in terms of provision of services have commented on the report. Now, what she also added, she says, and obviously this might be a week or two, although she gave a time frame, she says in about a week or two, they will be able to say to you, that is the communities of Extension 9, 10, and 11, we are bringing a solution to sort out the issues that are there. Another story that we're touching on was about the earthquake that transpired in Joburg, that took place in Joburg. Seismologists said that more tremors are expected to hit the country again over the next few days. This is according to what the Saturday Star reported last week. Now, it's reported they expect there should be at least 2 or 3 magnitude 4 events coming up within the next week or two. This is according to the technical director of Earth Science consulting company Umvoto Africa, and his name is Dr. Chris Hartnadi, and he told the Saturday Star. Now, very often one finds in a quake areas the main shot delivers a damage blow to some buildings, but then quite often is the smaller aftershocks that finish them off. Now, Hartnadi also said that if people reoccupied damaged buildings before the aftershock sequence closed, they would be putting their lives in danger because these buildings will collapse. I mean, we've seen one in the northwest where the wall was about to fall, so you can't occupy these places. Now, the Council of Geoscience seismologist Michelle Grobler agreed that more earthquakes were expected, according to her. Now, the rule of thumb in seismology is that history repeats itself. And I quote her, she says, we can get these magnitudes of 5.5 coming back. We can't say when it will happen, but we can expect another one. This is as what she was quoted as saying. Now, fatalities with regards to the earthquake, a 31-year-old man was killed in a mining village near Orkney, northwest, on the day the earthquake took place, when it was 5.5, and when it struck that particular region. Then further to that, at least 34 miners were injured by the earthquake and more than 600 houses were damaged. Now, Grobler said mining areas like the Northwest Province had more than 80% seismicity. Seismicity, yes. Now, after shocks in Orkney and Klerksdorp areas were being monitored. So that's it. That way it is. Obviously, they can't predict when it's going to happen, but the natural thing is obviously to go out of the building and to ensure that you're not standing in places where it can collapse or where walls can collapse or where you can endanger yourself. So let us be careful and let us ensure that we are in safe places if these aftershocks does happen. Moving on to Oscar Pistorius, Paralympic double amputee athlete Oscar Pistorius will finally know his fate on the 11th of September. So it is finally coming to a close. On Friday afternoon last week, the state said he was guilty of the murder of his girlfriend, Rieva Steenkamp. Prosecutor Gerry Nel told the court, answering the defense's final arguments, that he knew it was a human being in the toilet. It means Oscar knew it was Rieva in the toilet, and his intention was to kill a human being. Now, Nel said the defense provided by his defense, that means Oscar Pistorius' defense, was so mutually exclusive that it was also mutually destructive. Pistorius' defense advocate Barry Rue said that there was nothing abnormal about the way Rieva Steenkamp acted moments before she was shot and killed by boyfriend Oscar Pistorius, and he told them in a high court in Pretoria. Then he claimed she probably felt safe behind the locked door and maintained Pistorius intended to shoot an intruder and not Rieva Steenkamp or the deceased. Now, the case received massive attention over the past 2 days, grabbing the headlines. Pistorius is also charged with 3 contraventions of the Firearms Control Act, 1 of illegal possession of ammunition and 2 of discharging a firearm in public. He has pleaded not guilty to these charges as well. So, let us see what will happen on 11th of September. We will bring that story to you, but no doubt you would have seen it on social media when it does happen. Finally, on to our tech segment as we conclude our program. First it was thought to be on then, and then it was thought to be off. Now it looks though Apple's September iPhone 6 announcement plus whatever else they have in store, please be a smartwatch, will be taking place. Regarding the reports that Apple has a media event set for the 9th of September, which is just over a month away. Now, nothing specific has been detailed about what the company will be showing the media, but September is traditionally the time, and we've seen it before, where the iPhone makes its presence known. And if it sees its shadow, it will be winter for another 6 weeks or something. So a lot of people predicting a September 9th appearance of the iPhone. So what the report has revealed about next month's iPhone, even if it is a tad sooner in September than we were expecting. So let us hope that this iPhone is a challenge to the S5, which has been making waves, and the LGs as well. Now the main question is, will Apple be revealing a larger smartphone, and will they also put those smartwatch rumors that we've been hearing to rest at the same time? That's what we'll have to find out on September 9th. We'll be keeping an eye on the matters there as always, and I will bring you the latest update as soon as the iPhone is launched as speculated. Unfortunately, we've come to the end of another edition of Perspective. Remember, you can join me again next week where we cover stories making local, national and international headlines. You're welcome to interact with me by sending me a mail on faisal@itvnetworks.tv, a tweet on @Faizi143, or even on facebook.com/Faizel Patel. From myself, Faizel Patel, and the great team here at ITV, fi amanillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
أناجي الحق في ليل لهيب أصدق النجوى وأدعو الله من قلب سليم يطلب التقوى أناجي الحق في ليل لهيب أصدق النجوى وأدعو الله من قلب سليم يطلب التقوى إلهي صرت في ظرف عصيب فاكشف البلوى فيا ربي أنا عبد لرد الطيب لا يقوى